we'll hop on Facebook too.
Yeah. It'll stream on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn.
Nice. Oh, on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Smoking blunts on.
Yeah, I'm getting business on LinkedIn a lot, man. I mean, I'm also actively trying to get business on LinkedIn, so that's why it's not like a fucking accident. Exactly.
It's wild that it happens.
It's just wild.
Which is just how nothing works.
All right, guys, what's happening? I am here with my good friend Nick Verge. We're going to be talking about some of the Twitter stuff that he's doing to get some business. He's all up in the Twitter streets doing some cool stuff. Let me just move over here to Zoom, letting some folks in. Also, if you want to join us on Zoom, feel free to do so at the end of this. If we have some time, we're going to go ahead. And I muted myself. Yeah, we'll go ahead and have you guys ask some questions and all that stuff. But in the meantime, dude, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Good.
So we're over here in Arizona. It's a little bit spicy, cool down a little because it's going to rain, but it's like usually 100 degrees out here.
It's
so
very nice out right now.
Actually. So you may see, it's not too bad. You may see some sweat here and there, but it's okay. So
yeah,
Nick, man, tell the folks here who you are, why we should listen to you, and then we'll go and I'm going to start asking some cool questions.
All right. Well, let's start this. Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
There we go.
Let's start with that. you got Abodo Salmon hopping on in.
All right.
A Carlos blunt that's a good blunt. I would, if I could just have Carlos as a full-time roller, that'd be a very expensive job because Carlos needed to be paid a lot.
Yeah, well,
like,
at our
$500,000 a year.
When Tiffany and I do our wedding officially, because we're engaged. For the folks who don't know that, when we actually do our wedding, we're gonna have probably like 1,000 pre-rolled joints for all the participants there that want to participate. So yeah.
It sounds super
fun.
So
it's gonna be really cool. All right, so tell us who you are, dude.
So I've been in the game of, and this is so crazy to think about. Thank you, sir. I've been in the game of copywriting, marketing, all that stuff for like 5 years now. Dude, I mean, it was close to about 3 or 4 years ago when I met you.
Yeah,
which is insane to think about. You were not even here, and you weren't even in Gilbert, and you weren't even in Scottsdale. You were in that like Queen Creek house.
Yeah, I was
like,
far.
So far. And I met Carlos actually because I was living with my buddy Kyrie at the time, and Carlos came over for like a UFC night. And the reason why I got along with Carlos so well is how funny he was. We had there was a scene where it was like, the lady started, this is a Russian lady that was fighting something, whatever, Kamachov or whatever her last name was. She started speaking Spanish randomly. And Carlos was just like, oh, she's not speaking Russian. She's speaking Spanish. She's like, why am I understanding everything she's saying? I remember that being the funniest shit to me. I just couldn't stop laughing. And Kyrie kind of like pushed me and he was like, hey, you should talk to Carlos. Like Carlos has been doing copy for a while. Like, and I was just getting my wheels at that point with copy. I had like some email clients, a little bit here and there, but nothing insane, right? Like I was kind of just getting started. And I didn't really understand, I think, the depth this industry goes to at all until I started living with guys who had been hanging out with guys who had been doing it for, I mean, how long have you been doing this? 10 years almost? 10, 15 years?
Living with guys?
No. Like coffee and shit.
Yeah, I've been doing it since I'm 36. I started writing copy when I was like 21, but I didn't actually start taking client. I was writing copy for my martial art instructor, Dwight Woods in Miami. And then I didn't actually take on, I think, my first like client, because I'm not including him as a client. He was like my mentor, but until I was maybe 26, 27. So about 10 years. Yeah. 10 years of actually being a copywriter.
Insane.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the fastest ways for you to speed up your development curve and just get really good is just be around, like, think about it. If you're a boxer and all you do is hang out with boxers who have been doing boxing for 10 plus years, you're going to learn all sorts of like just random shit that you can do to like get out of the way, like little tricks and all these things. So there's a lot of that where it's just the things that you don't know and people don't talk about, like, especially in this industry. You know, dude, I was thinking about this today while I was on a walk. I would say that like 100%, I would put myself at like top 10% of copywriters, not just in terms of like net produced volume, but like also just skill wise. I've seen it. I just know I'm good. I'm not going to say top 1% because frankly, I don't even know what that looks like.
Well, I think also like most people don't try. You're actively trying to get better also. So I think there's a lot of folks who will get like good enough. And I had fallen in this phase like years ago when I kind of first like had a little bit of success. And then I realized I'm like, oh, fuck, I actually do have to get better because my shit isn't converting like I thought it was going to. But a lot of people, I think, have a little bit of success when they start out and they get to a certain level and they're like, I'm good enough. Like, and then they just kind of plateau and they stop. And then there's other people like what you've done, and you continuously try and get better. You go to seminars, you read books, you're actively trying to get
Drop
better.
like $250,000 on coaching.
Right.
Literally added it up. I dropped $250,000. And it's not just copy coaching, because I personally think that the best way to get really good at copywriting is just be a really good person, like really understand people. So I do a lot of like personal development coaching that's helped a fuck ton. But yeah, like I think
Talking about with Kyrie.
Yeah, Kyrie's one example, but like I'm going out to Austin with like Jesse Elder. I've invested in like a lot of different groups and stuff like that. But
do you get copywriting clients like by going, or with the stuff you're doing with Jesse, for example? Because I know you work with Kyrie one-on-one, right?
Mhm.
So with like Jesse, is it a group thing? Is it one-on-one? Because you can probably get clients that way too. I don't know if
Oh yeah. I mean, I have gone to events and gotten clients. Like I remember, I could talk about this later, like Stefan's like copy accelerator. I've gotten clients from that and it's solid. And there's definitely a way to navigate groups, which is very similar to the way I navigate Twitter. And I'll talk about that. And it's how it's like consistently I've just been able to like land the client that everyone wants the client. And there's a reason behind it. But yeah, I think that events are good. I just like the one-on-one stuff, because here's what I realized: there's like group coaching. For where I'm at, I don't really like group coaching. I like one-on-one work with someone where I can just sit down like and just talk with them. I don't need to go through 30 hours of your course material.
Right.
Like I literally just want to talk to you about my specific questions and that's it.
Right.
And I think it's a point to get to that. I see this with a lot of people where it's like, at first, what you need is just like courses. Then you need some group coaching. And then I think eventually it makes sense to do like one-on-one stuff. So yeah, I mean, I've invested a bunch in that, and that's helped a lot with my ability to sell myself, my ability to write really good copy, my ability to understand people. And then like also to be like happy and shit. Like how to have a good mindset.
Well, I think that probably does keep you happy because you're always evolving and learning. Part of being unhappy is when you are kind of like hitting whatever the plateau is and you're like stalemate, you're not really moving and stuff, but you're constantly growing in all these different areas. But so before we actually get into the Twitter stuff, you used to be really big on Facebook. Like you were always doing stuff on Facebook. What made you shift away from Facebook?
So I think that personally, where I'm at right now, I really want to focus on my own offer and selling my own shit. I can totally like, I've done it where I stack 5-6 clients. I've done it where I've stacked huge projects that are like 50, 30K. Like I've tried all the different models. And I think what I inherently run into is I want to do things my way. And it's because I want to do that. I want to have A, the best learning experience is you doing it yourself, but B, like I have a vision and I want to execute on that vision. And what's difficult when you're doing client work is you do have to account for the fact that like you are kind of taking orders, like you have a higher up from the person that's running the offer. And, I'm not saying that that's bad. I've made a lot of money that way. Right. I still have clients I work with, but that are, I think, the right level of maintenance. Like they're not difficult. They're just good, solid people who are reliable. And they just, we have consistent work with them. And I do well with those guys. But I would rather work on my own offer. And so when I look at my own offer, what I want to talk about, well, I really like kind of like the model Jason Capital had. I think that it's very smart as you are the figure, and then you have these different skills that you coach on. Like Jason chose like, he did like dating, he did like copywriting, he did like persuasion, he did like sales, he did all these things. So I think you can have your own interests and coach on those, and you grow a very large, the goal is just grow a very large audience. And I think that for the most part, that's like a B2C kind of crowd. Those are people that are trying to figure out, how do I make money? Like, how do I get better? They're consumers versus like B2B would be me like approaching an agency and being like, hey, I'll optimize this, this, and this for you. Or like approaching an offer and saying, I'll do that for you. So if you're going after B2C, like what's the average age range of a B2C? Like not a lot of people like to talk about this, but these are like the specifics. Like you really fucking understand your market. Like people say, what network works? They all work. You just got to know like what network has the propensity of your people. Right. So my people at a B2C setting, these are going to be guys that are between the ages of like, and when I say B2C, just for somebody that doesn't understand that, like business to consumer. So
do you consider, like, not to cut you off too much, but like, do you consider coaching like new business owners or like wannabe business owners that haven't yet stepped? Is that B2C?
Yeah, I would say it's B2C. I've heard the argument as to why people say that's B2B, like, oh, well, you're dealing with their business. It's like, not really. I'm talking about like a real, like it should be B2C or B2BB, which is like big BBB, big boy business. Like you need BB. I don't want to like that's the real thing, is that if it's business to business, I think of it like that way. Like you're dealing with a company that's already producing like 50, 100K a month and just helping them make more. I don't want to work with businesses that are struggling realistically, but I do like working with beginners and getting beginners their start.
So when you're on Facebook, then were you seeing that there was less of those established business owners or something? Like why did you end up shifting away from
Because
Facebook?
I wanted to start selling more of the B2C products, coaching, stuff like that. And so Facebook is really
coaching it's okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So Facebook is really heavy in like a B2B sense. There's so many business owners on it. It's fantastic.
Right.
It's kind of like you can find that on Twitter, but I decided, you know what, like I want to go more on that. And the more I was on Twitter, the more I realized that's a really good crowd of people on there. And so I kind of took a pause from Facebook. I definitely will come back to Facebook.
Sure.
I love Facebook. I think Facebook's great. And I think a lot of people shit on it, but overall
it's like a more conversational LinkedIn.
It's just more, really what it is. It's a much more,
it's
a more polite version of Twitter is what it is. Twitter's not polite. Like Twitter's like slightly racist, very aggressive, at least the pockets of Twitter that I'm in. It's like it kind of is a little bit more like you'll say something that people don't agree with and they'll just quote it and be like, this is bullshit. And then you'll be like, fuck you. And he'll be like, get in a ring with me. Like, I'll fight you. I swear to God, this is like a very common thing in Twitter. It's funny.
Yeah, it's funny. You guys should do like VR matches. Like, I'll meet you in the VR, bitch.
Yeah, it'd be good. Yeah. It's actually technically the best boxer.
Yeah, who's the best boxer, but I'm not trying to get a headache.
Yeah.
Okay, so you left the Facebook spots, the Facebook spaces to go to the Twitter spaces.
To go adventure and explore and see what it's like. Because I like to do a deep dive into something.
Why did you choose Twitter? Because there's so many like TikTok, all this other shit. Like what made you go to Twitter?
I think they're all great. I just was kind of like already flirting with Twitter and I looked at the space. So like Twitter is so interesting because of how many users there are and how many pockets of Twitter there are. Like there's not like a pocket in Facebook. I mean, there's the groups, which is kind of what makes that. But for the most part, there's like pockets where everyone knows each other on a certain Twitter, and then you get recommended a bunch. And I personally looked at it like, well, Elon just bought Twitter, and he's actually promoting like the usage of Twitter for you to be able to get more engagement. Like, TikTok was even like that at a certain point.
Right.
And I think that for me as a writer, like Twitter is literally only writing. It's not like, I mean, you can throw photos on there, but it's primarily like an intellectual platform where you are writing, taking your thoughts and just putting them out into the ether. And sometimes people are like, this is retarded. Sometimes people are like, this is amazing. Sometimes people are like, I love this. And sometimes you get a bunch of engagement. Sometimes you get no engagement. But Twitter overall is very interesting. Like when I added up all my impressions and I posted it on Facebook over a 28-day period. I had 1 million impressions on my profile and 60,000 people looked at my profile.
Whoa.
So I looked at it and I was like, and I spent $0 on all that traffic. I spent literally $0.
So are you like, how do you do this?
I just post a fuck ton on Twitter.
So when you post, okay, so let's say I've had Twitter, but I haven't used it in fucking forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I sporadically posted some shit. Obviously, no one's liking it because I haven't posted in forever.
Yeah.
No one knows me. But so how do I like go after hashtags or some shit? Like what am I doing? See, I figured this is
it's not that.
What do I do?
You have to look for like, okay, like imagine this. This is how I look at Twitter. This is how I look at events. Like imagine that you're at a club, like a big club, okay? And there are people that you want to meet. Right? There's like just dope people out there. Oh, that's a celebrity. That's a celebrity. That's a celebrity, or whatever you're gonna call it, like an influencer.
Right.
How would you want to go meet them? Would you like just look at them, or would you like try and go and start a conversation with them? Actually, like go and talk with them.
Right.
So Twitter just has a really easy. If you comment on someone's post and you say something thoughtful, like there's a bunch of these just. It's kind of fucked. There's some app where you can connect ChatGPT to the Twitter account. And it'll just respond to stuff.
Let's go, marketers.
Yeah. So they figured that I caught on to it pretty quickly because I'm like, why are there all these fucking Indian and like third world country like users that are just kind of saying what I'm saying, but just
It's all like the
differently.
same shit just spun around or
Yeah.
whatever.
I was just
That's
like,
kind of funny.
I was like, dude, this is kind of actually ridiculous. It's a very common thing. So that's such a common frequency.
Someone sent me that. I think they have a software. Travis Linares, bro, I love you. How does that work? We got to get you on the future podcast because I think he's got a thing that does that.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I think that it's I mean, sure, can you do that? But for the most part, I'm not trying to grow like that. Not all followers are the same. I want people who've actually talked to me. So I just think about this as a giant club, and I'm just gonna meet all the people. Like, I'm not talking about like you're at like a nightclub in Miami. I mean, like, imagine if your entire neighborhood, like an entire network, just a massive space of people where you're all in this space together. Like, you're gonna meet people along the way.
Right.
And so just having like genuine conversations with them, joining some groups, like if you were to join, find the ones on Twitter that are big. Like,
I didn't even know there was groups on fucking
Twitter. There's coaching programs, right? Like someone has a coaching program. Like I'm in one called Client Ascension, and a lot of the guys are on Twitter. And so you can join that kind of group. And then there's a bunch of people in there, right? Which, now you're seeing a bunch of Twitter users. And so then you just meet the ones that, like, you're going to meet random people, but then you have maybe core people you want to talk to because that person mentioned that person mentioned that person. So I think what it's good to do is to just look at it as one of the best networking tools. I think that Twitter is so fucking good for networking, but it's very different in a sense of like how to sell properly. See, what I noticed on Facebook is motherfuckers, and this happens on Twitter too. It doesn't really matter to the platform. Motherfuckers get in the DMs.
I was going to say, they hit you in the DMs.
They hit you in the DMs with just a straight fucking offer. And it's just like, okay, there's two ways you can play this game. Either A, you make the offer super fucking relevant.
Right.
Like, it's super relevant. It's very thoughtful.
Like,
and it's just
all your
valuable.
post.
Yeah.
You said, gotcha.
You actually have to be someone that's like not just trying to spam them.
Right.
And it's actively like shunned. Like, people will screenshot people's DM requests and not like with their profile app, but throw it on the timeline and be like, this is the worst DM I've ever got.
My buddy Devin Tracy does this.
Yeah.
He literally does this like, I think once a day now. So shout out to Devin. He does this shit all the time. He's put not the cold DM. He posts people who cold DM him. He's like, oh, I love the waking up like this. You know?
Yeah. It's, I mean, there's just like, look, there's a relevant message, and then there's just, dude, why are you asking that right now? Like, it, or just, are you dumb? Like, people will hit me up and will say like, dude, like, I swear they'll follow up with me 8 or 9 times, and they'll be like, just wanted to see like if you're interested in email, like if you thought about doing email marketing. Like, that's how advanced they're at right now. So they don't really get anything, and I'm like, bro, I email my list 7 times a week, and you're asking me, am I interested in email? It is very clear. I like email, like, and I use email. So a different approach would be like, hey, hit me up with some emails. Hey, like, if you're in a position where like the person's way further ahead than you, like they're like, you're a beginner, they're not a beginner, and they are crushing, they're doing well, whatever it is, your best foot forward is free work. So you can do that route. And we talked about this when I was first getting started with you, like just talking with you. You made me just this guy makes me go on ClickBank on the most aggressive DR offers out there. And it's just like cold email all these fuckers, just hit every single one of them. And Carlos kept me there until I think I emailed 100 people that day almost.
He came over to my house. I just made him sit down and do it.
Yeah. And it was a great first experience to learn about how to cold email. It was just some very sketchy offers. I'll say that much. Like, I don't know, a few calls with people, and I was like, what the fuck? There was a couple good things that came from that though. But it taught me that like you can do that outreach, right? But I offered for free work on everything. You don't have to write the emails for everyone. I personally would say, hey, if you're just getting started, that may actually be good for you, just so you can get some practice in. Right. Because you need to practice anyways. But you can just start hitting people up and just saying to them, being like, hey, I want to put some stuff together for you. Like, is that okay if I send that over?
Right.
And you'll have a much higher likelihood of the person responding, because I look at what I respond to now, because I get minimum 3 of these a day. Wow. Every single day, 2, 3. Jeez. On a low volume days 1.
Are these through email, I guess?
No, it's Twitter. Literally DMs.
So DMs. Okay, so not to cut you off too much, but like I do kind of want to cut you off because I'm really curious on how you sell these guys now.
Yeah,
because you're somehow you're getting these guys to follow. You're blowing up on there. Yeah. Like, do you make straight offers? Do you say something like event like once a month or some shit like, hey, I can help you do this, DM me for it, or like, how does that work? How do you sell?
Well, I've been fucking around with a lot of different styles of how to do this. So my original one was actually my best one, where I put out a training video, collected leads, and then called the leads, and then just booked calls. And
When you say
said
collected, so you did the video, and in the video there was a call to action, go here or something, and then it collected leads.
Yep. And so it was like a VSL. It was like a training, and I had a special opt-in on it. I had like a double opt-in. So like they'd get it, and then the only way they could access it was I emailed it to them, and they need to respond with confirm.
Oh,
and so my deliverability is like I have like a 50% open rate. Like it's absurd because everyone responds to me to start the email sequence. And then I have the VSL after that they get access to. And so that worked like actually pretty well. I thought that was like
that's a very good approach.
Yeah, it worked well. It brought in good leads. And so then I was like, all right, let's try like different stuff. And I was working with this one guy, Alex, and he was like, try this funnel. And then like it didn't work as well as the other funnel. And then, we tried doing like a workshop as well, like live. And the way we pitched, like that didn't really go all that well. And so I've thought a lot about like Twitter as a whole. Here's realistically like what it is. You have these people who will pay high ticket for like a 5K or 6K like coaching program, but that's not the common on Twitter. Like you have to think about it in terms of like a pie chart. So that's like maybe that much of the pie chart, right? But a huge, like all this way, like a huge portion of the pie chart is just broke people.
Sure.
It's just a lot of broke people. And so, okay, what's broke? Like, I mean, if I were to ask like AP what broke is, AP has a very different definition of broke than I do. I'm talking about like you have less than like $5,000 in your bank account at any given time.
Right.
So these guys just like they're not ready to spend 6,800 or 10 grand. Like they could put on a credit card, but like they got bills. Like guys will get scared about that.
Right.
So there needs to be some like low ticket tier of things. I like high ticket, but also I understand the reality of the market is like those guys. It's not good to depend. Those guys are like a little fairy that you meet. It's like, oh, nice, solid, like a little magical thing that you caught.
Right.
Those are good. But what you want is the volume. Like you want, I was thinking about this just the past 4 days, and that kind of took some time off. I was like, I just need to chill out and like zoom out and look at my business.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, if you sell like 3 or 4 low ticket things, like $1,000 to $1,500, and it's just course and like maybe some like follow up other materials and stuff like that. If you sell that for like $1,000, and let's just say you sell 2 or 3 of those a day, and you're just seeing those consistently every single day, it's very low maintenance for you. And sure, it's not like a 6,800 piff like that you just close over the phone, but I don't have to get on the phone with that person. I don't really have as much fulfillment for that person, because the higher ticket a program, the more the experience needs to be. Otherwise, the person's like, I just paid like a bunch for like a course. Like they don't, they don't like that. So you need to do more of that. And that experience is not scalable. And so I think about it like you want to have something that is very scalable and does not require a lot of fulfillment on your end. But obviously that's valuable. You don't want to have it where it's like, that means like, like I'll do nothing. I'll put like a piece of paper and mail it to them. I can't, you have to actually have a good fucking product. That's above all else. Like the easiest thing to sell is a good fucking product. But I want to do it where it's like what I'm kind of leaning towards now is doing courses for 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, whatever the fucking topic is. And then just having those at all times, like what you can do that's just amazing on Twitter. There's a tool called Hype Fury, which is like the shit. It's the best thing. Hype Fury. So what Hype Fury does is you can schedule out tweets. So I was tweeting for like, I would do it for a week, right? I would schedule out right around 65 to 70 tweets.
Whoa.
So I would do 10 a day, every single day. Wow. Some would pop, most would not, but I'd get good traffic. And what you do is you set it that every tweet that does a certain performance. So meaning it was a banger tweet, like everyone that did like 30, above 30 likes or something, you can plug that post right there. Right. And so you can plug like a coaching program, you can book a call, check out my free guide. So I've been thinking about how do you like, because all this is, I think what Twitter's really illuminated for me and really just helped me see like running my own offer is just lead gen. is you need to get leads through the fucking door. And so to me, what's the best lead in the world? Is it a lead of someone who has already bought something from me, or a lead of someone who has no idea who the fuck I am, has not gone through has not even paid me one, like, ice cold person? Do I really want that person? And do I want to have just a list of those guys? If you have nothing else, then like, yeah, go for it, right? But if you can change that, you want to. So what I'm leaning more towards is selling some like lower tier, like, you know, whatever, $20 to $50, like little quick start thing. And then the upsell to that is like a course with it, having it be like about 1,000 to 1,500.
And you would sell that in the funnel, you're saying?
And so I would do that every time I get a tweet. Like, this is basically, I'm giving people my plan. Like,
that's what we're hoping for, man. So
yeah.
I got you on here.
Yeah. So like, so what you would want to do is every tweet that gets above like 30 likes, you set this tool Hype Fury to do it, where it'll link them to your funnel. Hey, by the way, check out if you want to grab a copy quick start guide or whatever. I think I got like the other day copywriting or copykickstart.com.
Oh, so cool.
Like, launch like
great.
Kickstarter, Kickstart thing. And so you throw that in there. And that to me is like, it's a good way to get the leads through the door. So now you have these people that are joining that are actually paying you money. Cause like I've just been on the phone with so many of these people and talking to them. And you know who my favorite people are? The people who know who I am.
Of course.
It's so much easier. Exactly. I had a kid, dude, come in and pay me 5 racks. And he literally got on the phone and sold me.
Wow.
And this is what's crazy. This is crazy. So he read a book by this guy. It's like a guy sold me. It was insane. This guy, Sabri Subi.
Okay.
So he read Sabri's book. And then right after, I'm the marketer that got him with the funnel, and he went through it, and it was exactly what Sabri said. And he was just like, this is insane, bro. He was on the phone. He's like, I just read how funnels work. Like, I read he read his first like Russell Brunson book.
Right.
And so he just figured out, he's like, I just watched your entire process. I don't give a fuck what the cost of the program is. I'm fucking in, dude. Like, he was so hype. And so he couldn't afford it. This kid goes to his fucking dad and gets his dad to get him to pay for it because he's just so fucking set on it. You tell me,
this guy?
He's like 21 and he's already getting like people responding to him. He's setting up meetings. Like,
that's sick.
He's doing what the fuck he wants. He's super focused. The kid was like a fucking a McDonald's All-American, like qualifying basketball player. So he just took the discipline.
I thought you were gonna say he was like a McDonald's All-American cashier.
No. Like, he was a basketball player. He was really good, and he almost did that, but he like busted his knee a bunch of times. So he just took that discipline, applied it to this with just extreme levels of enthusiasm, and he's fucking crushing. Like, it's that simple. So you tell me, who's easier to sell to? That fucking guy or the random dude who's like, yeah, man, like, I just like saw your stuff. Like, I don't know, I'm just kind of looking at copy. Like, yeah, I'm not too set on anything. And you have like a conversation with them. Like, they're like, yeah, I'd be willing to have a conversation. And then like, you're like on an hour-long sales call with the person and just like, oh man, I don't know. I need to think about it, man. I really need to get off the call, man. Like, they don't want to take the fucking decision at all. Fuck that shit. Like, I think about, you can literally influence the quality of leads that you get through the door. So why the fuck would you not do that? Like,
and you're not paying for these leads either, are you?
No, they just come from organic.
Have you spent any money on Twitter ads?
It's the platform's shitty. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
Twitter ads is not good. Like, that's one downside to it. You can like,
I tried and didn't get any results, but I didn't know what I was doing. It's
not that great. It's not. I mean, I have friends who are like, it's what it's really good for is just retargeting your audience and just getting yourself in front of them. That's it. That's the only thing you want to use it for. It's not that great as a cold platform. Cold platform, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, like, those are all great cold platforms for running ads. But yeah, like, I think that that's a really good way to make it work. But see, I say all of this, and I want to make it very clear that the reason why this works, though, none of this works if people aren't engaging on your tweets and like actually watching you. And so what I would recommend someone is to do is don't pitch anything for like a year. Like, just get on Twitter and just build your brand. 6 months, a year. If you have to pitch something to 6 months, I mean, fuck, you can be patient.
Restrain yourself.
Yeah, restrain yourself. Fuck's sakes. Like, build a network on there. And I think then if you have a topic that you know what to talk about, then coming out and saying, by the way, I do this, like, is much more attractive than like, you have guys who are trying to, like, they've never done anything. They have nothing to coach on. Your information is not valuable. And they're trying to sell information. And I'm like, dude, you're 15.
Right.
Like, stop this. What are you doing? Like, do you, and even if you're not 15, if you're like 20 or 24 or 30, like, have you done this? No. Then why the fuck are you trying to teach it? Like,
Right.
there's a point where I had to do that. I didn't really start, like, I started taking in my first coaching cohort when I was like 23, 24, maybe. No, I'm 23 now. 22, I mean.
You're 23
Like,
now.
23. I was like, yeah, I was 23 now. So I
Guy's
was like
young as fuck.
22, right? Like,
Jesus.
I brought in my
Doing
first,
amazing.
yeah,
Doing amazing.
but I did like 3 years of just putting my head down and grinding because I had Kyrie there to like say, like,
He helped a lot.
Yeah,
you could see
yeah.
Kyrie's influence. Like he matured like amazingly.
Well, he told me
Credit to Kyrie.
not to fucking, toot my own horn. I did do a lot of the work.
It's
but,
all Kyrie.
But he put the questions in the arena to help me think about it. Let's say that. So
yeah, he's
Kyrie,
good at that.
he's
for
a good
sure.
he's a good influence. Like I won't take that from him at all. And that was what's just like amazing. It's like,
But you also
Yeah.
lived with him, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that had to be like that's like a full immersion type of thing.
in Kyrie's world, yeah, I definitely. And so I think a big part of what he helped me with is just like how to think about these. Like Kyrie, I think is really good at teaching on like social dynamics and understanding how to be like.
That's great for marketing.
It's amazing. Because I think there's a lot of people that come to Twitter and are very transactional and don't understand this is a network.
Right.
This is like, we are like money Twitter in particular, the part of Twitter that I'm on, like you guys can come find me and see the people that I'm
Twitter?
It's just money Twitter. It's a section of Twitter.
Oh, I thought you were just fucking around. Money Twitter?
Yeah.
Let me check this out.
Money Twitter, like you can't search it. I mean, you could
How do
search.
you, what do you,
could
want
search
when
it.
you say, see, this is
Like
how far I'm out of
if you
this.
go on Twitter and search money Twitter, like the group of people that I'm in, there's like, it's so interesting. There's pockets. There's people in Dubai. There's like the Dubai money Twitter. There's like the Miami money
like
Twitter.
this, like money Twitter. Fuck, I'm such an old guy.
I mean,
This guy's laughing at
so
me.
if you search it, you can like maybe get someone tweeting about money Twitter, but there's
Oh
no
my
like,
gosh.
it's not like a group.
All right, so we're on the phone.
Yeah, see, this is what's crazy. It's so hard to find it. Like if you were to go to my profile though, like there's a lot of these guys that here, Nick Verge.
Pretty much, it's funny when I look at my Twitter. It's like pretty much all poker shit.
Yeah,
It's
because you like poker. It knows.
Like nothing marketing related.
Okay, so like if you started, so I went on my profile, right? And then you said who to follow. These are some people in the money Twitter world. Not the promoted thing. I don't know who the fuck. This is like a game on an app.
Super channel.
Yeah, like what?
Gotcha.
That's not someone in money Twitter. You can see it's promoted though, so don't
Gotcha.
follow that. But if I hit show more, right, like you'll see all the people in my range, and not even people that I follow. This is just like, this is why Twitter is so fucking OP, bro. Is I can just go on there and see suggested for me. And so the game that you have to choose to play is either A, I'm just gonna follow everyone. Right.
Sure.
I'm just gonna follow
That was my
everyone.
next question. Do I
Yeah.
just follow him? Like an
Yeah,
old
like-
guy just following him.
Like you
I'm not even
could,
that old, but
you
for Twitter, I feel old.
but a big thing that's I'm not gonna
This guy laughed at me. I felt like a fucking 80-year-old.
because he just searched money Twitter and it was one word. It was I'm like, that's not what I mean. Like it's a topic, like it's a place, right? So like my profile, like that to me is a big part of it, is your ratio. So how many people are you following versus how many people are following you? Because if you have a really high,
Oh wow, yeah. So you're
I follow like 200 people, but like almost close to like 50,
He has, like,
600.
pretty much 6,000 people following, just under 6,000 people.
Yeah.
So it's like 5,500, 5,600 people.
Now here's the thing that I've realized: about 2,000 of those people are Indian, and or like in random
Anand
parts of the world.
Singhal is murdering it.
Yeah,
over there.
yeah.
In
It's like, or
You should create an offer
Nigeria, 100%. That's what I'm saying. This is why I want to have low ticket shit. Is so like that. If that, like, I used to look at that and I think I was getting upset because the leads that were coming in, I'm like, bro, these are like, this person lives in like a fucking Swiss village. Like the
Right.
average income there is like, 2 pies and like fucking 2 pies and like 10 grand a year or something like that.
Oh,
Like
man.
there are people who are more there's a higher proclivity to spend. Like in the States, people are more likely to spend 5-6 grand versus like, bro, imagine like you lived in your entire life, you're in India, 5-6 grand, like you couldn't fathom spending that on a
Right.
coaching program. Like that's like a couch or like a year's worth of rent, a car, or like a year's worth of rent or something like that.
Right.
Um,
I suppose I don't really know, but
it's
yeah.
just a poorer demographic. So
Right,
if
right.
that's a huge part of the audience on there, you want to be able to monetize that as well, Like, and that's why I think the low ticket stuff is just solid for that.
Oh, 100%. Are you, because there's a lot of people, myself included, like I have like a low ticket $9 a month copywriting offer basically.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that like, is that kind of the direction you're thinking of going in? Or you said $20 a month or something? Is it, or $20? Are you thinking of doing like a monthly deal?
Yeah. What's your 99 a month thing?
Well, no, mine's $9 a month. And what they do is we have a bunch of copywriting videos and training, a segmented like sales pages, all this type of
Yeah.
stuff. And they just get access to that almost Netflix style. So when they cancel, they stop getting access to that.
Is there any coaching at all?
No, it's
Yeah.
just $9 a month and they
Yeah.
get access to that.
See, that's like,
Now
Yeah.
we do offer
That's
them a free
ideal.
call because then if they want it, then we're also going to offer them our mentorship.
yeah.
But the
How much is your mentorship?
5K a year.
Yeah.
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 But it's like there's less people taking that now, and there's more people taking my $9 a month offer. And I'm wondering if like during these uncertain times, if that's going to be more popular, because I've started seeing more people start shifting away from
Yes.
high ticket, and I've experienced it where it's like I still have people interested in high ticket coaching, but
Sure.
the majority of my high ticket is either higher ticket copywriting clients or the once in a while like more successful copywriter that's
Yeah.
like, hey, I just want to do this other type of stuff.
Well, this is what, because you can also get people who, there's two types of people, right? There's those people who are like the copywriters, I'm doing this and I'm already making money and I want to do
Right.
better, right? Or what you have is someone that just wants the best of the best. So you have to think about it in terms of like people. So like the guy that's doing that probably has a good job, tech, something like where he's making
Sure.
$100,000 a year plus. Okay. You can
Those
go
are actually some of our best guys, the ones that are in
Yes.
transition, already
Yes.
working a good job.
100%. Like they're already disciplined. They're already getting their shit done. Like
Yep.
smart dudes. Okay. Most people are not that. Like most people, the
That's true.
overwhelming majority of people don't have their shit together, didn't do that, don't have themselves in school, aren't doing that. Like I'm talking about someone, and you can get paid well as like a fucking electrician. Like I'm not even shitting on an electrician or blue collar, but I'm talking about someone who doesn't really have like a job like that, like where they're making 150K a year or anything like that.
Mhm.
Like that person, there's a lot more of those guys, especially because, well, we're in an economic recession. Like that, we're like tiptoeing. A lot of marketers like tiptoeing around that. I'm like, we're 100% in a recession.
Right.
Like there's,
Yeah.
yes, that's 100%
100%.
happening. We're not acting like that's not happening. Like there's a whole war going on,
Yeah.
like on the other side of the world, and we're funding it. And
Yeah.
like that's happening. You know, that's not happening. So I think about that, and I'm like, all right. Recession, even if there is a recession, because you're always gonna have a high ticket guys, you're always gonna have the mid ticket guys, you're always gonna have the low ticket guys. What I don't get is why everyone's fucking arguing all over all these different types of models,
Sure.
when it's like you should have all the models.
Right.
If you're fishing in a sea, do you want a net that's a mile wide or 3 miles wide? Like, I mean,
Right.
I don't know the size of
I don't
fucking
either,
nets,
but it would.
but you
make
get what I
sense
mean,
the
right?
3
Like
mile would
that
be good.
a 3 mile net may not work actually.
Right.
Like, well, let's say
We don't have to
100
get
feet,
into,
100 feet, 300
reality.
feet, right? Like it's just a wider net that you can cast
Right.
that allows you to be able to get it to the point where, you know, I think you're bringing in as much revenue as possible. And so how I view it is like, look, most people during uncertain times, they get uncertain and they don't have any fucking control over their mind at all. So that starts fucking with their finances or whatever. They're worried around money. So the idea of investing 5K or even 2,500 split into 2 payments or whatever,
Mhm.
like all of that is actually like, they're scared about it. They're
Right.
just like, oh, fuck, like, I don't know. And how I look at it is one of the best things that you can do is literally just offer something then that they can afford. Like you have your Neiman Marcus, right? You have your Louis Vuitton, you have your Bugatti, whatever it is, your high ticket, ultra high ticket, like the best experience. Then you got your fucking Walmart.
Right.
Like you should have Walmart and Bugatti at the same time.
True.
That's what you want, because then you can bring in as much as possible. I think someone who nails this perfectly is Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone hits this just so perfectly because
He's got all the levels.
all the levels, and he's more focused on growing the brand and the awareness. And then just basically he just has these nets that he's just
Right.
catching the money. Like imagine it's just a money tornado and he's just catching it like on a game show, right? Where you have to grab
Oh,
as much
man,
as
you
you
can tell this guy's a copywriter.
Yeah, that's
I'm
how
gonna
you-
use that one. That's for sure going into some copy.
Yeah, right.
That's great.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's the way to do this. I've only like, and I'm going to preface this by saying I've up until now only done high ticket, but I brought in a bunch of high ticket people,
Right.
look at the fulfillment and how much was involved in it. And then on top of that as well, just thought about logistically, like, okay, how many people are there realistically like this? Because I keep marking it. Like what you'll see is when a new offer comes out, spike in interest, and then it's just kind of like levels out, right? And then you have to work to try and get that. So get that higher. And that's a lot of like winning people over, showing results, testimonials, like remarketing people over and over and over again. And yeah, I mean, I just look at it as like you should have something that's ultra high ticket like that, but there's a bunch of people who are watching all this and are like, I want to do this, but I'm not getting a fucking call because they know they've been on a call. They've been on a call.
What do you think is a threshold to being able to buy like online versus having to get them on a call? You know,
2K, 1K, anything below that. I think past 2K,
you got to get on a call.
Yeah, it's interesting, and even 2K is a lot harder.
This is for people that don't like, maybe they've seen some videos and content you, but don't, they haven't done business with you before. That's it, man. That makes sense. That's kind of the thing I was thinking of as well. Like I consider higher ticket, I guess, like I guess 1K plus, but 2K plus, I was also kind of thinking, I think at like 2K-ish, you almost might want to get on a call, but yeah, I know there's people who've been able to sell like a lot more than that just through a fucking sales page.
Yeah.
Or through a webinar or something,
Yeah, you can do shit. Like I've even thought about, what's really smart that someone's doing right now is Russell Brunson has his like box with Dan Kennedy stuff in it.
Right.
That's actually such a good, like, think about this. Like
what's offer? Like, do you know?
Like, yeah, like think about, I'm just gonna use a copy kickstart thing that I
sure do it.
So yeah. like that. Hey, like, yeah, it's how can I make it as easy, fast, implementable as like just quick as possible to get going with the offer. I struggled with this for so long until I started thinking about this, that like people are fucking lazy. Like you don't want to make it different. It's gonna take 6 years and you got to climb the fucking Mount Everest. And you got to make it difficult. Right. Like you need to position it as easy as possible to just get going. Right. And I think that one of the things that interests me a lot is like a starter box. So like someone, think about it, like they're trying to get started in copywriting. You send them like journals for them to like hand copy stuff, like with your pens with your logos and the fucking books, and like you have it where there's like 3 books that they get as well, physical copies of the books. And you think about that, maybe like a journal or something like that, and then whatever, you have some random shit that you give them, a book, a training, fucking
like a
USB
shock and awe box.
Yeah, give them a shock and awe box. Wow, like why not? You do that, and like let's say realistically it costs you like, I don't know, 25 to 50 bucks to do this, okay? And you're shipping it to the person, okay? If you get them to pay 25 to 50 bucks, you break even. It costs you nothing to do that. And a bunch of people would see that, and you're now in their home with them on some shit.
Right.
So I've thought a lot about shit like that, because I think that copywriting is one of those things where, people always ask you like, what books should I be reading? Why don't you just give them your books? Like why everyone asks you like, what should I do? And like the answers for me are always breakthrough advertising. Right. But I look at breakthrough advertising and I'm like, well, if I had to explain breakthrough advertising, I feel like I could explain it better, because I like breakthrough advertising. It's the best book ever. But obviously like my perspective is going to be a little bit different than that. And that was also written in the 50s or like 40s or some shit, 60s. So it's a little bit different and more up to date. But I've thought about that a lot too, where it's like you just want to get something to get person through the door in your sphere. They then know you, they like you, they trust you, and then you're like, hey, I got this like $1,500 thing. You want it? And they're like, yeah. And then they grab it. And then from there, there's like out of those 10 people that buy it, you have 3 or 4 people who you're like, hey, like, we went on a date, want to fuck? Like it's basically that. Like you want to fuck? Like let's get up a little bit higher. Let's go to the penthouse. And they're like, all right, they want to do it. So then that's like a 5-6K purchase. And I think past that as well, this is the coolest part of the entire process. You will then have guys who are seeing you doing that and being like, can you do that for my business? What you're doing, how you're doing lead gen and how you're bringing in people. And then that's where you can charge someone like 10, 15, 20 grand a month to like an agency service. So there's a bunch that you can do there. And all that's like, that's a great way, I think, to model the business. At least it's a lot, but I think the key is to have the right team in place to help you with all these different things, all these different sectors of the business.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's for sure. I like where you're going with that. Where are you thinking about this? Kind of going back to Twitter real quick. Did you get Twitter verified?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blue.
Is it worth it?
You
I
get-
just got on. I'm thinking about doing it. I don't know. Is it worth this $8 a month or $10 or whatever it is?
I mean, you do get like a little bit of an algorithm boost, they say.
Do you?
I guess, but
I mean, you got a million fucking impressions or some shit.
I don't know if it's because of that though. I posted some pretty like, okay, so I guess I should talk about like what to post on Twitter. Okay, so it can't just be like only business all the time. Like
Okay.
I'll fuck around. So I'll let me show you this.
Oh
one.
man.
So I one time tweeted, I was at a cafe.
Can Twitter? Can I get Twitter on like my fuck on
Screen
on
share?
screen or
I
whatever?
think it's gonna delay it too much. I can just show the people it. It's not gonna be hard for me to find it. I think there's gonna
Okay.
be a serious lag.
Gotcha.
Let me
Gotcha.
find
Gotcha.
this, though.
All right. No
So
worries.
basically, like, I was at a coffee shop and I thought about this lady, the waiter or whatever the fuck you want to call it at the coffee shop.
Right.
She was constantly coming and checking on me, and there's at a certain point where that gets a little annoying, right? Like, just leave me alone. Like,
Sure.
I'm not, I don't need that right now. And so what I did is I tweeted out, like, kind of just fucking around. Where is this? I think it's right here. I said, go to cafe, gun on table, the ultimate do not disturb.
Oh my
sign.
god,
And
that's
so-
hilarious.
I just tweeted this where I have my gun on the table. I have some, and I'm clearly in a
Excellent.
public setting too. Like, I have all my shit. And so a bunch of people saw this. Look at that. That got 92,000 views.
Oh my god.
11 people quoted it. 164 people liked it. 50 people bookmarked it. It was 3 retweets. And then in terms of activity, that alone,
All the Europeans were like these
Yeah.
fucking idiot Americans
Right.
and their guns. This is great.
489 impressions.
Do you get any of that? Do you guys go back and forth from different countries?
Yes.
From all the different
Yeah,
cultures?
it's so funny. It's
That's
so
awesome.
funny.
That
It's-
probably boosts your engagement then, huh?
I'll say-
Obviously.
Yeah, like the Romanians want to fight with everyone. I think it's the funny. If you're in Romania or Miami, they want to fight with everyone.
Or Miami.
Yeah, or I swear it's all the
That's
Miami
great.
guys.
That's
It's
so
the
funny.
Miami entrepreneurs, and I think they're from Miami. They moved to Miami. And then it's like the Romanian guys. You'll start talking shit with them. Like they'll be like, look at this fucking like pencil neck or something. They'll say something like that. And you'll just be like, if you say anything negative back, you'll be like, fuck you. Or something like that. They'll literally be like, let's fucking fight. Let's step it up. They'll talk about guys that are actually promoting fights and be like, can you give me a spot with this guy? And adding them and everything like that. Let's sponsor it. Let's do this. I'm like, logistically, what world do you live in that I'm gonna
Right.
do you know how expensive it is for me to get to fucking Romania and for me to do and then set up a fight and then like we're putting a purse, we're betting on it. Like
Yeah.
it's like imagine
Sounds
doing a gunfight, a gun
It
duel.
sounds like a mafia thing.
Yeah,
It
it's so,
sounds-
it's
kidnap.
interesting. What are you doing? So there's that part of Twitter, which is very interesting.
Did you see that you're Ukrainian, right?
Yeah.
Did you see Ukraine has a hit list
Of who?
of like there's like fucking kids that have been on it.
Wow.
Well, people who talk against or pro-Russian. So there's a lot of Russians on there, but like pro-Russian, anti-Ukraine. So there's like this YouTube guy, I can't remember his name. But he's on there. He's an American YouTuber from California, and apparently he's like anti-Ukraine, pro-Russia, but he's on the fucking Ukraine hit list. And I checked it out, and it's like they have
Like a
bro, they have a
thing?
picture of who you are. I think they even have your info if they have it. And then once you're killed, and if they find out, they put like killed on your face.
Ah,
It's a legit website. You can just type it on Google and shit, and I'm sure it'll pop
Don't
up.
doubt
It's
it.
something no, I did. I typed it.
yeah, I don't doubt it.
Oh
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah,
no.
dude, it blew me away. So yeah, have you heard of that? Just out of like nowhere? Do you want to take? You
No,
can
no,
put
it's
them
all
on-
good. No, no,
you can
it's
put
all
it on
good.
speaker.
No, it's all good. It's not good. It just keeps ringing. Put 'em on speaker. It's up, Logan. Yeah, I don't doubt that. Wait, how did we get to Ukraine? What was?
I don't remember you and
random.
me. I don't remember. I said something.
Yeah,
I don't
I was talking to my mom about this the other day. I was like, I feel like I don't really know who to say who's the good guy or the bad guy in this scenario with Ukraine versus Russia. Like,
oh wow.
it's actually, I'm so like, I've looked at both sides and I've listened to both sides, and I'm just like, I'm supporting no one. Yeah, I'm
Wow.
supporting no one. You guys are both fucking just like children, just fucking crying and fighting, killing each other, and just being fucking dumb.
Wow.
I like what, honestly, I think the person who's had the best take on it thus far has been Trump, where he's just like, I want people to stop killing each other. That's it. He's just like, that's just what it needs to be. Versus like you got Biden, who's like, this is wrong, that you're like joining Ukraine on their side. And it's like, okay, I get it. That's the point, but there shouldn't be war, period. Like there shouldn't be war, period. And there's a good point my mom had once, because my mom's fully Ukrainian. My whole family's Ukrainian. She was like, there's a reason why this had been going on for a while. People don't understand, like this started like
decades ago, or at least at
least a decade ago. It was the green guys. It was like the green men. Putin literally had troops just in green, no uniform, no flag. That's illegal. You can't do that. But just invade. And it was the Donetsk region of Ukraine, like near the airport and around that area. They just annexed that part. Now they're trying to annex the whole thing, basically. And we didn't do anything then when they got in that fight. But now the reason why it continued is because around that time as well, Trump started getting into office, and Putin didn't want to do that when Trump was in office. Like it's so obvious that he didn't want to do that, because my mom said this is the point, is she's like, Russians know crazy. And she's like, they know crazy. And they knew this motherfucker was crazy. And it's true. Like if out of the 4 past presidents, who would actually fucking, do something? Who's going to hit a big red button and do something? Trump. Like, so they know this. They 100% know this. And, I think that it's a shame what's going on, honestly. I think that it should have been capped like very early on and stopped right away. And, I just say very disconnected from it in terms of like taking sides, because how I view it is it's just like, it's both sides are wrong, in my opinion. I think both sides are wrong. Well, Ukraine's right because of this. I'm like, okay, but like realistically, you're still fighting. Like you're still, if you care so much about your people, like they're dying every single day. There's innocent children that are being murdered every single day.
Yeah.
And then this other country's doing it. I agree. I think that there should be some form of stopping power for that. Like, and the fact that US isn't stepping in really, besides just, we're just doing a decentralized war. Like we're just shipping them all the shit. And then like, oh, we'll train you and we'll send you stuff, but we're not going to do it. Versus like, I mean, realistically, think about if like US Air Force, US military, all the special forces, United States just went and got it done. And just was over there. It'd be over pretty fucking quick. Because there's a thing that the US has, which is just insane military power. Dude, do you want to know something funny? Do you know who has what do you think are the top 3 air forces in the world? Who has it? What are the top 3?
If I had to guess, because I literally don't know. I hope the US, not in any particular order, because I have no idea. Canada.
Okay.
Fuck.
US, Canada.
Jeez, I don't even know.
So
man.
it's actually the United States, and China, because we have it's China. Here's what it is. The United States has the largest air force because we have the Air Force. The Navy, the US Navy, is the second largest air force in the world. It's a completely different branch.
Wow.
So that has more than China. So that by itself, I mean, if you get to like nukes, like that's obviously not a good discussion.
Of course.
But we kind of are a superpower in that sense. We're very OP. Like we could just fuck it up pretty easily.
Wow. I didn't know that. That's really interesting. Yeah, I brought it up just because it hit when you said Romanian. It rhymed with Ukrainian.
Okay, got it.
After smoking, that's where my mind went, because I had just seen it like a day or two ago.
Okay.
So that's how we randomly got to this from Twitter and shit. Okay, yeah. I was trying to think about like how did we
end up here?
Did we just like get into this?
It's a politics podcast.
Yeah. But anyways, I think that's pretty cool what you have been doing with Twitter, especially with this tool. What was it called again?
Hype Fury.
Thick
as fuck. And
is it free?
No, and it's not free. It's like
how much is it?
$50 to like $100 a month or something like that. I can't remember the exact price. But
it's not
also really cool feature of it is you can retweet your own tweets. This is the hack that nobody knows about. If you retweet your own tweets, your following sees your tweet again, and they may not have seen it the first time. And so you could just retweet your tweets constantly, because you can retweet it and then unretweet it and then retweet it and then unretweet it. And you can do that infinite times.
And does this software do that for you?
You can set it up that way. So it's just like, it's so easy to get good engagement. And above all else, like what you want to do, I stress this because I know some guys are just going to be like, oh, I'm gonna go do this. And then it's not fucking working or whatever. You need to connect with people. Like you need to connect with people. You need to have an in. You're joining the club. Imagine showing up to the club and no one at the club. Right. You're like odd guy and you're like, I could like walk up to someone, right? And like say what's up. But it's much easier if you're already in a group to meet other people that are in that group and then meet corresponding groups over and over again. That's the way to do it, because growth is very different than content. I can give content strategies all day long, but it's like, above all else, you need to be dialed, absolutely fucking dialed on the network itself. You have to be growing that. Otherwise, the same 5 fucking people are going to see your tweets. Betsy, John, Mike, and like Ajnush, and like a long name you don't know how to pronounce.
Right. So what are your plans, man? Do you have any specific plans over the next like 30, 60, 90 days for this funnel? Can you share with us?
Yeah. So I'm going to Austin next week to meet up with Jesse Elder, and I'm gonna do some like an event work with him where he's talking about, it's called Primal Profits, and it's his kind of like coaching strategy for like how he's been able to build his coaching business, how he calls it ethical cult building, and I love that.
I love that. I've heard of that before.
So he's teaching his whole strategy, and it's a really cool event that he's hosting. So I'm really excited to go to that. I definitely want to implement a bunch of that stuff, but right now, for like the next week before that event starts, because it's 1 week from today directly, I really want to spend a lot of time getting clear on like exactly who I'm talking to, the market, doing the research on the market. Because it's like, I've already done, like, research never ends.
Right.
You can go on and on and on. I know my market. I've made a good amount of money with my market already. Like, we've probably done like cash collected probably on one offer, like nothing insane, but for like a 3-month run, like 70-80K.
Nice.
So it's like that just through the door. Okay, cool, that's solid. But now it's like, okay, what's the next evolution? What's the next pump? Right? Where does the next pump come from? Right. And I think it's about being strategic and being smarter and constantly leveling up like the offer, the thing that you're doing, everything. And a huge part of what I personally want is I want low commitment sales, meaning from my end, like I don't have to be getting on 5 fucking calls a week with people. Like, I don't even have to talk to them.
Yeah.
There's no support. Like, there's the program and then like an already built out form of support. So I want to have something like that. And my goal is to grow that as much as possible with as many leads as possible. And all I want to do is focus on growing that, getting as many people through the door as possible on that. And then it's just literally calling the people that have bought stuff. I don't want to talk to people who haven't bought stuff. It's just, it's like, who would I rather talk to? Well, if I'm talking to people that haven't bought anything, okay, I could get 1,000 leads, but realistically, out of those 1,000 leads, maybe 100 conversations.
Right. It's not going to be the same quality.
If I get 1,000 leads the other way, I'm talking to like 1,000 leads basically.
Yeah. Nowhere near.
Yeah.
So, all right, I just wanted to see
like questions or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to open it up just in case, because we're about to hop off in a little bit. So if you guys have any questions, you can drop them into the Facebooks or right here. I think we have a couple of people or one more person here. So Don, if you had any question, or Abdu, if you have a question, go ahead and drop it in the Zoom chat. And yeah. So what are you doing later today, man?
Well, I'm gonna go do exactly what I was just talking about. I'm gonna go get some more work. That's all I'm doing for like the next week.
What made you move back?
Scottsdale?
Yeah, because you used to be not too far. Yeah.
Environment. Just wanted something like completely different, dude.
Are you always walking around everywhere like Sean?
No, Sean does walk around a lot.
Sean Kemp, when I used to live up in at Optima, dude, we would drive everywhere and you just see he was like the walking man.
Yeah.
So it's great, man. It's great. But yeah, so that's why you moved back though, for the environment.
I just kind of I wanted to be in I was living in Gilbert. I had like a home, and I wanted to kind of move back into an apartment because I didn't need all that home space. Like, I'm a single guy. Do I really need a fucking home?
Right.
Like, it's a lot of space. And so I didn't really like apartments in Gilbert. And I was like, I already lived in Phoenix, and I didn't like Phoenix because I'm just like, I don't like homeless people. Like,
there's a lot in Phoenix.
I was just like, I don't like walking out in the morning and like, oh, there's a crackhead right there. Like, if I had to choose between not that,
it's like a mini New York.
Yeah, I don't want that. I was like, I don't want New York either. So it's like, I don't want the mini version either. So I just went back to Scottsdale. It's clean, it's nice. It's just like the building I'm at, sick, like all around. I think it's solid.
Do you have any clients in there?
I have worked with people there. Yeah. Like I don't have any like ongoing recurring clients, but what's dope is like my partner literally lives 4 floors beneath me.
That's so awesome.
It's extremely convenient. So I'll just be like, hey, what are you doing? And he's just like, I'm just in my unit. And then I'll just take an elevator down, and then I can just like talk with him about shit, work with him. So it's solid. Yeah, like I really like it down there for that sense, but I'm not gonna lie, I miss how quiet and calm it is here.
Yeah.
It's so quiet
The
here.
suburbs, baby.
Dude, oh my God. It's like there's nothing. If we were outside of my apartment, there's
Yeah.
construction over there. There's just two massive roads right there. And so there's a bunch of traffic going by. There's someone downstairs blasting a fucking speaker, doing
Yeah.
like a hit workout or whatever. There's people on the roof yelling and shit. So it's like it's really busy at all times.
Yeah, I like Chandler. We're in Chandler right now,
Yeah.
but we're thinking of moving to Anthem, Arizona. But yeah, another little suburb.
Yeah.
It's nice, man.
Yeah.
So where can people find you?
Well, since we're on the topic of Twitter, you just
Mhm.
I think it's Nicholas Verge.
Nicholas
It's
Verge?
it's not, it's either Nick Verge or Nicholas Verge.
I think it was Nicholas Verge. I
Yeah,
saw it on there.
yeah.
You had the full name.
Yeah, so that's that right there. On Twitter, and then I think it's Nicholas Verge as well on Instagram, or Nick Verge. It's one of the two. And then just that on Facebook. That's the primary places to reach me.
Okay.
If you here's the thing, guys. This is a key lesson right here. If you're gonna watch this, everyone opens every message ever sent to them, ever, even if it lands in requests. Everyone opens every single message. If you say to me that you're like, hey, I came from Carlos's thing and I watched you and you want to talk to me, that's how you talk to me. If you just hit me up with, hey, I don't know who you are. so that's how you reach out. If someone wants to chat or like had a question or whatever,
Cool.
just say, hey, I'm from Carlos's thing. Because if I don't know who you are, I'm not responding. Like,
It makes sense.
yeah.
All right. So Nick Verge on Facebook, Nicholas Verge on Twitter, and go check